What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this little adventure. This is going to be like an update and maybe the last update, the last kind of video before we actually really get into the meat and potatoes, which is going to be the CDL training. In the previous video, which is the first video on this channel, I pretty much talked about what I currently do, you know, myself being diabetic, what my plans are and everything, and I didn't really talk too much about the actual program that I'm getting into itself. So this video I would like to talk about the program that I'm doing. It's actually starting up in 1 week, so I've got just a few days to get prepared and get ready and you know, get going with what we need to do as far as getting into that CDL school. Now, if you guys watched my previous video, you know that I worked for LKQ, and yes, I said worked. My original idea, my original plan, I put in my 2-week notice last Monday. I was going to, you know, do the whole 2-week notice thing, you know, finish up my last 2 weeks, but you know, it's just things happen, and things just kind of blew up just a little bit, and really just forced me to say, hey, why am I going to do this? I'm not putting myself through this. And I just put my resignation in just right there. And yesterday I quit my job at LKQ. But it's time to move forward and move ahead into the next step, which is going to be going to CDL school. Now, the program I went with, and this varies in everybody's area, everybody's different. As far as Springfield goes, around here, there are multiple different ways to get your CDL. There's multiple different places that do CDL training. So there's multiple different options here in Springfield. There's Midwest Tech, that's MTI. There's C1 training. I think there's like a 160 driving academy, and there's a few different other ones. And of course, you've got all the training and starter companies such as Prime or CFI or places like that that'll train you, but you have to be out over the road. But in the last video, we talked about how the over-the-road, I guess, lifestyle just wouldn't work for being diabetic, requiring medical supplies to be, you know, readily available and stuff like that, and easily accessible, and all that without being, you know, gone for, you know, weeks, months at a time. So what I chose to do, and I'm going to show it up here, is Midwest Tech, so MTI. They offer a training program that allows you to get your CDL. I think she said 180 hours of certified training, which is great because, as I said in the previous video, right here, they're going to require you to have 160 hours at least of certifiable training before most employers are going to want to hire you. So that starts on Tuesday. So Tuesday we're going to start with that, and you know, it's a big jump, you know, big change. It really is, and to a lot of people it might not be. For us, it really is. It's a lot of money at once. We already paid for it, so it's a lot of money at once. The program, I think, was $4 grand. It said so, and this, I'll show you the paperwork. Not too terrible. There's definitely places that are way more expensive. I mean, I've seen, when I was looking them up, I've seen schools that went anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000, which is just absolutely crazy. But yeah, we've got that going on starting next week, and I want to get into LTL. And a lot of companies are opening up now to hiring, you know, people that are fresh out of school, rookie drivers that just got their CDL, just graduated. You know, it might be different if you do the 24-hour CDL program, but since we do have the 160 plus hours of training, you know, we may not know what we're doing exactly, and we're still going to have some on-the-job training, but it's a lot better to get into LTL as an entry-level driver, and a lot easier than it used to be. Let's go ahead and go over the paperwork on the program that I'm going into next week. All right, so here is the course information for the CDL training. They've got multiple different trainings. They've got CDL training, they've got professional truck driving, and from what I understand, it's just like difference in length of times. They also got a CDL refresher course for $1,250. But this one, we're going to look at down here. This is all public knowledge, so it's not like it's, you know, spilling anything that you should know already. You should be able to get this on the website if you want to, but $4,000 is the total, so they include the whole CDL processing, the permit price, which is actually way different than what I paid for, but DOT physical, DOT drug screen, all that stuff's included. If you're like me and you want to do it ahead of time, you can, but you do have to pay for those on your own. or you could just wait until you start the classes and you could pay for them, through the program. This is another thing I was talking about, was the mandatory training requirements that are changing on February 7th of this year. Basically, they have to have electronic verification, completing the training conducted by authorized provider, then the FMCSA, all that DOT regulations and stuff like that. So basically, that is saying no longer will you be able to just go and get your CDL through, through like a quick training company or something like that. You have to have a certain amount of hours that's able to be verified through their systems through the DOT. Okay, so after you kind of get everything finalized, everything done, you get yourself enrolled in the programs, enrolled in the school. If you're going to go and use a company for training, if you're whatever kind of training you're going to do, obviously going to need some materials and some stuff to take with you. You can't just go in empty-handed, can't just go in, without anything, or else you're going to get yourself caught in either having to spend a bunch of money or not having a very good time due to the weather. Now, since I am doing a local school and I'm not traveling very far, it's just 10 minutes away, 20 minutes away, whatever, it's going to be a little bit different for me. So if you guys are doing a local school, it's going to be different than, say somebody who lives in Texas and they're going to fly up to Springfield, Missouri to go work with Prime or Joplin or wherever. If you work with Snyder, I think it's like Washington or something. I don't remember. But everybody has a different place. All the different companies that do offer CDL training all have different locations. So you're going to have to base yourself and get different materials based off of what you're doing. So this is just what I picked up for the following, the next 4 weeks that are coming up. Doing training, especially since it's winter time. Spring and summertime might be a little bit different. You might not need so much of this stuff. But since I decided to choose winter time as the time I'm going to go do this, you need a few of these materials here. And stuff like this. This is what I picked up. Aside from, day to day, obviously you're going to wear clothes, jeans, a sweatshirt, coat, or whatever. But you're going to want to get work gloves. So I've got some regular, cheap. These are like $6 for 3 pairs. Work gloves. I've got hand warmers because it will be cold at some point. I do know that. Insulated gloves. Obviously, you're going to want gloves to do any work with, the trailers or, any maintenance on the truck. During the school part, when you're actually in the classroom, you want something to take notes on, I'm sure. And I got some folders to file away paperwork, good pens, highlighter, all that stuff. Because when you're reading through your CDL manual, highlighter is a good thing to have to highlight, important stuff you want to be sure you look over multiple times. Again, winter months, I've got some thermals over here. I've got this little scarf thing that doubles as a face mask if you need it, depending on, what school you go to. Everybody's different. Flashlight for pre-trip inspections, stuff like that. You're going to need one of these in the dark if you do a late class. Most places offer a daytime class and a nighttime class. I'm going to be doing the daytime class, but if you do a nighttime class, you probably want to have a pretty good flashlight. And last but not least, a set of raincoat and pants. So I got this because, first of all, this is going to be something you're going to need when you're on the job, when we do get a job later on. Secondly, the weather here is completely sporadic. It could snow one day, it could rain the next. Training doesn't stop. So, they don't have snow days, I guess, unless it gets really, really bad. And if it rains, you're going to be standing out there in the rain. So it's going to be good to have something to keep you a little bit more dry. I have to go and pack stuff that you're going to need to take, just based off of your situation, like I said before. But having all this stuff, having materials, the proper things, obviously a backpack to put it all in, it's important. I think it's important just to be prepared, to have all this stuff ahead of time, and just to be ready, and to kind of look like you know what you're doing, getting ready for these classes. I think, in my opinion, it's better to be over-prepared than it is to be under-prepared. So if I show up, with all that stuff, and it's a nice day, that's great. I don't have to use any of it. But if I show up with all that stuff, and the weather looks nice, but happens to change, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a nasty, groggy, stormy, wet day, I've got that stuff with me just to just to be on the safe side. And it's not cheap. It all adds up. It really does. Those $6 gloves, $2 hand warmers, $13 insulated gloves. The raincoat was like $30 for that set. It all really does add up. So you will have to spend just a little bit. you know, even doing a local training, you have to spend just a little bit to be ready, to be prepared, and to have everything that you need. So just to kind of summarize this video and to go over a little checklist, we've got the DOT physical done. We've got the drug screening done. We've got the CDL permit done. Should be getting it in the mail at any time. We've got materials that we need, and I think that's pretty much everything necessary. We've paid for the program ahead of time. We know that we start Tuesday at 7 in the morning in the classroom, and that's I think that's pretty much it for right now. So this video may not be super important. Some people might like to see what they have to bring along. Being diabetic, if you're traveling, like I said, you're gonna have to take all of your supplies. You're gonna have to take, a good probably month's worth of insulin and supplies like that, just to ensure that you have enough to get through, however many weeks, 3-4 week program. There's some programs out there that are a lot longer than that. So just like I said, based off of your situation. So be prepared, have everything ahead of time. And this is just the second video to the series. It's not anything exciting. We're not doing anything yet, but I just want to film what I can, take you guys along for the ride, and just show everybody what it's like, to be a diabetic and get their CDL. And I'm going to end with this. I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but I made a post on my Snapchat about doing my CDL training and everything, and this person messaged me. He said, even being a type 1 diabetic, I was always told that I could just get my medical card, so there was no point for me trying to get it. And see, like a year ago, I was reading similar things where it was kind of near impossible for us to get it. And I'll put a screenshot up here. There was a law that changed, it went into effect, basically saying that you cannot discriminate just because we have diabetes. It's not fair, it's not cool. We have to have the chance to do jobs that we want to do, just like anybody else does. So so all that's changed now. So this is the whole point of filming the process, because there are people out there that are diabetic that, people might be stuck in the old rules and not know that it's changed. So this is just information for you guys to be able to go get your CDL, just like I'm doing. So just keep that in mind. If somebody tells you that it's not possible, just know that it's a little harder, but it's not impossible. So I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. Hit that subscribe button, because we've got a lot more content on the way as we progress further into this program and really get things started next week. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. We will see you all in the next video.